Hey everyone, it is Kevin Henry. I'm the editor-in-chief for drbicuspid.com. Thank you for joining us on the drbicuspid.com podcast. I'm really excited about today's because this is something that I've had a little sneak peek into, and I think it's fantastic. So with that, I'm going to bring in Amber Lombardi, who is the founder of Mainely Teeth, and Jim Tuttle, who is a filmmaker with Find Help Films. So thank you both for coming on the podcast today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So glad you're here. And the reason I have both of you on is that there is a documentary film, and we're going to tell people here in just a little bit how they can watch this. But I was blown away by it. I've got to be honest with you. And it's called Filling the Gaps, and it follows Amber and what she has been doing with Mainely Teeth in the state of Maine to help those who are in need and to make sure that they get the dental services that they deserve. So, Amber, I heard about it a little bit on the film, but I'd love for people to know just what is Mainely Teeth and where did the passion for this come from in your mind?
Yeah, I'm really excited to share about it. It's something, Mainly Teeth started officially, we opened our doors in 2020. I had been doing mobile dentistry long before that, but I come from a dental family background, so I grew up somewhat in the industry, in the field of dentistry, but also my family did a lot of service work, and so I was also exposed to a lot of service work when I was a child into my young adulthood, and that was actually where my heart lies the most. I knew from a very young age that I wanted to commit my life to doing some sort of service work, and how that looked, I wasn't quite sure when I was a young child and even into my young adulthood. There were certain things I knew about myself. I knew I had a passion for people. I knew that I had a passion for working with young children and special needs children and adults. This wasn't my first career. So I used to do early childhood ed, and I worked as an ed tech in group homes. So all of these pieces of my life kind of were put together, and all my different passions is kind of how Mainly Teeth was born. And it really, really was born out of my desire to just meet people where they were at, figuring out how to meet people's basic needs along with oral health needs. The dentistry piece of this, and I know this might sound a little odd, but that's just a part of this. That's not all we do. Teeth is not really the whole point of this. So I fell in love with dentistry over the years, and I basically took all of my passions and put them into one. So what did that look like? For the last 13, 14 years, I've known that I wanted to build a mobile dental clinic. So I went to hygiene school originally, and then I came to Maine to go to dental school because I knew Maine had such a huge need here. And I knew we had a really large aging provider population. And then COVID hit, and it really took us out by the knees. We lost a lot of dental hygienists, a lot of dentists, rightfully so. You know, people were really reevaluating where they were at in their careers, what was important to them. And then also folks that were, you know, almost close to retirement, they just kind of made that decision then. So what that did was it caused a lot of gaps in need in our community, which was already at need before COVID happened. So the timing for me, 2020 was the right time for me to do this. So I kind of woke up one day and I said, I know this is right. I had been doing mobile dentistry just out of my van, my car, my own personal vehicle. I worked for a nonprofit organization. I worked as an adjunct faculty at the University of New England. And I had kind of a bumpy road to get here. Nothing really was the straight way. But you know what's really great is all the folks we care for, they all have bumpy roads too. So it's, you know, I see it as a community effort and a collaborative effort. It's not actually about me. It's really about our patients and what our patients' needs are. So it was really born out of that just like all of my passions over my lifetime, and then my things I experienced and things I was exposed to. When I moved to Maine, it was just myself and my children, and I had to start over, and it was really hard for me, and I didn't have much to my name, and I was on Maine Care, which is the Medicaid of our state, and I experienced what it was like trying to get my children's services and my self services basic and our basic needs met. And it was so hard. And I was somebody that had an education that actually grew up. My childhood was pretty supportive. I had a lot more access to resources than most people do. And I still had such a hard time navigating the medical and dental system in Maine. So that also sparked a fire in me. I volunteered at almost every clinic I could get my hands on, FQHCs, nonprofits. I volunteered at hospitals. I took jobs. I made no money and I took jobs triaging calls for Maine Med. And I did all of these things to prepare myself for what's happening right now. And I never, even though I was in need. So I experienced what it felt like to be in need for a short window in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so impactful on who I am and how I care for people. And so really everything we do at Mainely Teeth is because of that. And I have a child that had a lot of was very medically compromised as an infant and in her toddler years. And so navigating a system and she's autistic, and navigating a system for a special needs child was so difficult.
Yeah.
So I take that with me to work every single day. And that's why we do what we do. So,
Well, and seriously, thank you for what you do, because when Jim first sent me the link to the film, and I've been fortunate enough to view it, I was blown away. Not only by what you do, but how you do it and the different audiences that you touch. And Jim, I've got to ask you, what drew you to Amber and to tell this story, because it's so well done, but what was it in the filmmaker's eye that really drew you into this?
Oh, thanks. I mean, you really just heard it. I mean, Amber's story is so powerful and relatable, and getting to meet her and her family and the Mainly Teeth team, and that's the grandfather clock going off. Sorry.
That's all good.
Um, Getting to meet everybody and spend time and see firsthand what they do every day for their communities was it was amazing. It was, I'll never forget it. And I when I initially heard a little bit about Mainly Teeth and what Amber was doing, and I think our first conversation, we talked about the factors in her life that motivate her to do what she does, and also how how quickly her Mainly Teeth had grown around that mission that she started. It really showed, that she was onto something, and that she's the real deal. So it was an easy choice.
Well, we will give the link to the documentary here in just a few minutes, because I want to make sure that people are kept up to speed with when this is launched. It is something that I promise you it is worth your time to watch. Uh, Jim, let me ask you, and Amber, I want your opinion on this as well. How long did it take to film this? What kind of process was it to make sure that the story of Mainly Teeth really came through in this documentary?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I guess I'll share from my side. I know that Amber's experience of being filmed and followed around by me and my wife Alex was I'm sure an experience all in its own. It was filmed over the course of two trips to Maine. So my wife and I are based in Austin, Texas, and we came to Maine to work on the film. I think each trip was about a week. The first trip might have been a little over a week, and the second trip might have been a little bit under. Um, but Amber and her team did such a good job planning with us ahead of time and working with us to identify, like, where they were going to be, what the different types of patients that we were going to be able to see, and we were able to get such a great diversity of folks from asylum seeking families living in Portland at their brick and mortar location at the Root Cellar in Portland, and then um, a variety of high school students, elderly, military veterans, everybody that they see on the road with their mobile clinic.
Mhm.
And it was an adventure. I'd never been to Maine, so getting to kind of crisscross the state with them was really special.
It is a beautiful part of the world. So, Amber, what was it like for you to kind of be under the microscope here and really being
Yeah.
filmed during this time?
So, as you can imagine, you know, when you do this kind of work and when you start something like this, you know, it is hard at first when you start getting some sort of attention of sorts of things. And I'm really mindful. I said this to Jim like right in the beginning. I'm really mindful of how um, we tell our story, and just because of how it can impact our patients. And
Mhm.
I was nervous. I was scared. Like honestly, it was a scary thing. I've never done. I'm not like a in the spotlight type of gal. That wasn't something I've done in the past. So I wasn't used to that. I'm still not used to things like this, but I appreciate them. And Jim and Alex were so amazing. I can't even thank you enough, because they made us feel really comfortable. So yeah, there was an adjustment period at first where I had to get comfortable wearing a microphone and doing my work, but they were so great at making me feel comfortable, and they sat down with me, and I was able to share, all my fears of what, putting, because we're really putting ourselves out there really for so many things, for judgment, for who knows, for great things. All of the stuff comes with it, right? So I thought through all of that. And I think for me, the most important thing was how the story was told. And I will tell you, they are masters at their craft, because they absolutely captured what you see as what Mainly Teeth is. And it's way far beyond my wildest dreams and imagination of what it could have ever been. But that's what it is. And that's what we're living every day. And how they tell that story is, this is it. You get to see a day in our life. We are in approximately 87 locations across the state and 14 of the 16 counties. We do a lot of different work. So when people ask what Mainly Teeth is and how we do it, it's so hard to actually tell them in a very short answer. I really struggle with it sometimes, but they show it in such an amazing, respectful way. I also was really mindful that I didn't want the film to come off like we were saving people, because that's not what we're doing. We are empowering people. We're coming alongside of people and giving them the care they so desperately need, deserve, and have always. We all deserve this. Every single one of us, no matter where we've come from, who we are, what we have, what we don't have. Um, so I think the theme that I think for me that came through when I watched that was um, they really represent the equity piece of what we do, and that was really crucial for me to have someone do when they told this story. So thank you, Jim. And
You're welcome.
my hope is that this project isn't self-serving in any way, and that it will hopefully inspire other providers to try something new and go out there and do something different. And I'm just here to tell you, like, if anyone asks to follow you around with a camera and a microphone, it's not that bad. It was, I got over it really quickly, and I was able to just do my work and focus. And I do hope that this, you know, sharing this story will help other people think outside of the box, that not all things need to be put inside a box, four walls and a roof. We can actually care for people wholly and in different ways.
Yeah, I've got to say that was one thing that stood out to me was the fact that you designed this mobile clinic and that this was really a passion of yours. So I love the not keeping in a box.
Yeah.
Jim, yeah, Jim, I've got to ask. So let's talk about the film for just a minute. What are next steps? How do people learn more about this? And what are your hopes for this film as well?
Yeah, thank you. If you don't mind, I'd like to just back up a little bit and kind of explain a little bit
Of
more about
course,
how the film came to be.
absolutely,
Um,
please.
so I work for a company, like I said, based in Austin, Texas, called Find Help. And Find Help is a software company that's working to reimagine the American social safety net. We run a software platform that's intended to help connect people in need with programs and services that can help them with dignity and ease. And I have a pretty unique and really special opportunity at Find Help. I run our storytelling initiative there, and kind of the centerpiece of our storytelling initiative is Find Help Films, where we get to seek out stories about um, programs and people like Mainely Teeth and Amber who are out there in the world doing the real work, helping people in innovative ways and making real change. Um, and I was lucky enough to meet Amber and find out about Mainly Teeth, because they are regular users of our platform. That's how they intake all their patients using Find Help. And so it was as a filmmaker, it was like a perfect
Cool.
emotional story about somebody doing something really, really cool, really visual. It kind of checked all the boxes. And then from a marketing standpoint, Find Help was really excited to help tell the story about somebody who's really using our software to help
Yeah.
people every single day. Um, and so this is we've been doing it for a few years. This is our most recent film that we've created. A little bit about your question about the future for the film. We are currently submitting it to film festivals, looking at what our release can do. We really want to share this with as many people as possible. We want to get the story out there, but we want to make sure that the film gets some traction and that we can really reach a wide audience.
Yeah.
And so, talking with the rest of our team and with Amber, we identified some festivals in Maine in particular that we're hopefully going to get into and maybe do a premiere there. We're talking to some other folks about doing some events later in the year. So in the meantime, people can go to the website for the film is fillingthegapsfilm.com. You can see a trailer. There's another a video on there called Impact in Action. It's about Mainly Teeth and also how Amber uses Find Help. And then there's links on there to get in touch with us if you're interested in hosting a screening. Um, Other resources about the need for better access to oral health care, and lots of other good stuff on there. So check it out. Follow us on social media for updates. So hopefully there'll be screenings and things that people can attend, and eventually it'll be available online.
I love that. And obviously, Amber, I want to make sure people know more about Mainly Teeth as well. Is that a good way for them to do that? Or do you have a website as well? What's good for them?
Yeah, you can absolutely find Mainly Teeth from that link, or mainlyteeth.org. Mainly is spelled like our state, Maine. And yeah, I will tell you that the Find Help um, platform, it was free for me to use. So when I opened my doors, um, you know, we accept everyone regardless of their ability to pay. We are mostly a Medicaid free care sliding scale practice where we follow the federal poverty guidelines. So as you can imagine, it's really difficult. It's hard to sustain something like this. So having something like Find Help for me was such a game changer for patients to be able to connect and other partners in the community and other providers in the community with a click of a button to get them to me. So I'm really glad, Jim, you brought that up because that is that's a huge piece of this. And it is how we got connected. And that's another thing that I think is part of this and how I would just love to share with people, anyone who's interested in doing something similar to what we're doing, being there as a resource. So people can contact me through our website. You can send an email through that and it'll go to our administrative staff and they will get it to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of links that we've shared, we're going to make sure that those are all in the show notes, as well as if you're reading this on drbicuspid.com, obviously the links will be in there as well. But again, kudos to both of you, not only for what you're doing in Maine, Amber, but also Jim for telling the story as well, because this is just an amazing thing. And I'm glad we were able to talk about it today.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much. Really appreciate it.
You too.
Absolutely. And thanks to all of you who listen to this episode of the DrBicuspid.com podcast. Hey, great things are happening out there. We're really glad to be able to shine the spotlight on this, as well as make sure that you get the opportunity to see it as well. Till next time, Kevin Henry, Editor-in-Chief, signing off and wishing you nothing but success ahead.